When you're aligned with who you are, your clients feel it, and that's when your real connection begins. The second one is the strongest leaders are the ones who are consistent in character, not just strategy. And that's what earns lasting trust.
Hey, possibility seekers. Did you ever want to talk to a growth strategist? Did you ever want to talk to a business coach that's going to get you out of your own weeds and see the forest from the trees? Did you ever want to talk to and about something that means something for you and your business and your success and your revenues? Well, I have that guest today, so why don't you stay tuned and listen to what she has to say? Tonya Gossage is a business growth strategist and founder of Gossage Performance Consulting, where she empowers entrepreneurs and business leaders to generate premium leads. They amplify their authority and scale sustainably through strategic delegation and AI powered marketing. Leveraging the insights of human design, Tonya helps her clients understand the innate strengths and build deeper connections through the powerful know, like, trust framework, transforming how they lead, collaborate, and thrive. Welcome, Tonya.
Thank you. It's so good to be here.
So good to see you. I really appreciate you being here. Knowing, liking, and trusting the secrets, the trifecta of successful leaders. How does that show up and how do you do that?
Oh my goodness. Well, I have to tell you. So, part of that is all about the human design tool. And so, I would love to share just a quick little story to frame it all up if you don't mind. Okay, so human design, an amazing tool that I discovered a few months back. And I was in a peer group, and they're all talking about this human design thing. And they're talking about how they all work together, how their synergies match, and how they all flow together. And I'm like, what the heck are they talking about? Because it was all over my head. And so I finally just spoke up and I'm like, what are you talking about? I want to know because I felt left out. So one of them said, well, here, let me pass you this tool and you take it, but do it later. But I didn't want to wait. And so I did. I was patient, but one of the guys said, I'm going to guess you're either a projector or you're a manifesting generator. And so the whole time I'm on this call, I'm sitting there thinking, I'm so antsy. I want to know. And so I'm going to set up the story for you. And I'm thinking, okay, projector, manifesting generator, as I'm listening to our story. And so I'm thinking, what am I going to learn about myself? Because they're like, take the test, if you will, or use the tool, but don't come back immediately and share. You're going to need to digest this information because it can be overwhelming. And so I'm thinking, wow, what is this? So I do it and I find out that I'm this 3-5 projector. And I'm like, what in the heck did I just uncover? This amazing tool that is this, what I thought was a magic peel for transformation, solving everything, Monique.
So what do you say? Well, when you say 3-5 project, like people listening to this is like, this is a disc profile. It's got like the 1 and I'm a D with a Y.
Yes. So this 3-5 projector tells me that I'm a researcher, I'm a networker, I'm a strategist, I'm a visionary. So kind of like you take these personality tests and you find out, who you are, what your personality is all about. So human design goes in to tell you things that are very similar to a personality test, but on a much deeper level. Tells you all about your energy, tells you what your superpowers are, what your challenges are. So that's pretty much the gist of it. But the magic peel to all of this is how it can literally help you in your business. And so finding out that I'm a strategist, I'm like, okay, so this magic pill to transformation, how do I use that in my business? we were using personality tests, if you will, but let's take this a little bit deeper. And how can I get people to give me their date of birth, their place of birth, and their time of birth? And so, at sometimes that's can be a challenge, but other times people are like, I don't get it. How can it be so accurate? Well, the thing is I don't get it either. But when you see the details of it, Monique, it's
Yeah.
so
It's
fascinating.
pretty fascinating,
It
actually.
is pretty fascinating. So, yeah. So here's the thing, when you know your energy, when you know your energy and how you can use that wisely, and to be able to teach your clients the same thing and how that you can use that in your work, how you can avoid burnout, how you can use it with your team. It's just phenomenal.
So what is it so you said visionary and a researcher. So how does that show up in the real world when Tonya Gossage gets a phone call? What is her approach is going to be what?
My approach to all of this is there's a couple of things here. So, knowing that I'm a networker, knowing that the way that I use my energy, knowing that I'm a strategist, knowing that I'm a guide, knowing that I'm a visionary. So what I do when I start to work with someone using my strengths and how that I work with them. So I also want to know who and what they are. But knowing these things, using my strengths to work with them, I know that I don't want to get deep down in the details in things because that's not my strength. And so that's the way I show up for my clients, is using my strengths and my superpower. The other thing about the 3-5 projector is knowing how to use my energy. So if I'm going to, let's say for an example, I'm going to work on projects all morning long, but I've got some deep work that I'm going to do with you this afternoon. I'm not going to show up very well with you this afternoon because I used all of my energy this morning. And then when I get on the phone call with you, you're going to say, "What the heck? What's wrong with you? I have no energy left for you."
Yeah, that's right. That's very it's both very strategic and also if you know how your client is wired and what they're about. I use a similar the framework that we use here is why, even though it's less deep in terms of the data that comes out of it or the verbiage that describes the data, I should say. I feel like having tools such as that gives us the shorthand into how we can accelerate development and that client relationship and the outcomes that they're looking for because we know how and what to deal with each other, right? Like, don't get down in the weeds with Tanya or Monique because they're projectors and they're just not going to have patience for that crap. Keep it at the high level, keep it at the visionary level. Just don't bother her with that nonsense. Whereas if you got a guy that's like, I need all the details, you're going to have to give him the details because he's going to go crazy if you don't. So it's kind of funny.
I love researching things. I'll research it just for knowledge, but I'm not going to take that data and then start working in that data. No way. No.
Call me in the morning. What do you love most about working with business owners?
Oh my gosh, I have to say it's building the relationships with people, watching the transformations happening with them personally and in their business. Seeing them go from who they think they are to then who they become, especially after they know who they really are.
Tell me more about that. That's great.
Once people see their human design, they're like, that's why I do certain things. Or they're like, I have felt like there was something there that was not working in my business. And now I know I need to get rid of that because that's not my thing. I'll also share with you, I have this friend. She's an accountability partner, And I know she won't mind me sharing this, but I worked with her for so long, Monique, trying to get her to do her human design. And she kept putting me off and putting me off and putting me off. And I kept telling her, we can resolve this if you will let me run your human design.
Now, why do you think she wouldn't let you run her human design? I gave it to you in like 3 seconds flat. You're like, "I need your birth and place of birth and date and blah, blah, blah." I'm like, "There you go."
Exactly. It was because two things. She was afraid of what I might find out that could be something negative about her. And then she was truly afraid to find out about her. But what you find out, it's transformational. Now, she knew though that what I do is, let's say I had yours, I will run yours and mine together and say, what are the strengths that we have and how could we be strategic partners if we ever decide to work together? What are our challenges that we might have if we work together? Because if you and I are both leaders, we both don't need to lead, we need to collaborate. But if I am a strategist and you're a visionary, then let me strategize and you be the visionary. If one of us is an action taker and the other one does something else, then we need to know that so that when we do a project together, then I work on my strengths, you work on your strengths. But knowing that up front, neither of it is negative. And it doesn't matter. You are who you are, and I am who I am. And we both have strengths. And I think that it was scary to her to maybe even think somebody's better than the other. And it's not. It's not that. And so, but when we finally did it, she was so excited. And she has taken that and run her design through Chat GPT. And then she went and took other free personality tests, added it on top of that. She has so much confidence today. She's almost unstoppable. Yes.
I have to wonder because this is off topic, but I have to wonder. So she ran a through Chat GPT, and then what did she ask it to do with it?
She wanted to know more and more and more, number one, about herself, but number two, strategies for her business. Are her programs right? Is she running the right programs for her design? Is her pricing right? Who are the best collaborative partners? What other human designs are the best collaborative partners? I got so tickled because she messaged me and she said, guess who it said was the best collaborative partner for me to work with? Me.
I love that. So now you've been in French as an expression, you went all the way around the island of Gibraltar, all the way to come back to where you started, just and then you have science and data behind you supporting what you already knew.
Yes. So phenomenal.
It's is that what you love most about working with it's the transformation? And then tell us about your practice. Like you talk about this comprehensive know, like, trust, the trifecta. I call it trifecta. Always things in threes, as we both know and like. What is that? How does that show up in a consulting practice?
So the example I just gave you is part of that, you know. So in both life and business, I really believe that people do not buy from businesses. They just don't. They don't. They buy from people. The business may show up, but they may find the business first, but they buy from the people. They're building that know, like, and trust factor from the person. But the way that we build leaves a lasting, meaningful impression and relationship, whether it's with a client, whether it's with a partner, whether it's with a team member. It's through what I call the know, like, and trust factor or the journey. And so in my coaching practice, it really starts with getting my clients to know themselves, getting them to like themselves, getting them to trust themselves first. And that's why I use the tool, the human design and the gene keys tool. So giving them a clear picture of how they're wired, how they lead, how they connect, how they create. And so when someone truly knows how they're built, they stop chasing strategies and that don't fit, and then they start stepping into, what I call their natural strengths. And then we move into that what I call the like phase, which is about alignment. Are they in alignment? And then, do they like their business? Do they like the way that their business is built? How are they showing up? Do their clients like the way that it feels to work with them? Do they like the way that it feels to work with their clients? And to me, that's where the brand, the messaging, the delegation comes into play. And they need to be in an environment where their business feels good. And because I feel like the people can feel that. The client on the other side knows whether they're happy in their business, and whether they're happy, overall. I've had people say to me, "Where do you get your energy?" I love what I do. I love what I do. My license plate says, "Have fun." I love to have fun in business. But then finally, the trust factor, which is everything to me. In my world, it's not just a tactic, it's a core value. My core values are integrity, trust, connections, which relationships, impact, and family. And so for me, that trust, it has to be there. You have to lead with transparency in what I do, what I say, and I coach my clients. You have to be that way as well. And so, helping them create systems, teams that build trust within their audience, not in just what they say, but, what they deliver, the way they show up, the way that they follow through. And so, in life and business, know, like, and trust is how they build relationships. It's also about their decisions. If somebody doesn't show up with integrity or trust, I don't do business with them. I fire them if I see something I don't like. It has to be aligned. If my gut says no, I go with my gut. And I've learned that through my human design. My human design as a projector is your intuition is right. If it's not in alignment, say no. If it's in alignment, say yes. And that's that trust factor. So that's what it means to me.
So what is the most frequent struggle that your clients show up on your doorstep with? What is the thing that they are most likely dealing with that they're not quite feeling?
I tell you, I get aggravated at it, and it's hard. But I hear, "I'm too busy. I'm overwhelmed. I can't find leads." And I want to say, those are all excuses. I remember because I was there, and it was excuses. It was procrastination. It was, "You can if you'll do a time audit." And now it's like, I said this at a networking meeting yesterday. "Do you need me to help you do a time audit?" Because somebody said that at a meeting yesterday. "I just don't have time to get out and network." And I said, "Well, you're not working on your business." But those are the things I hear the most. "I'm too busy to network. I can't find leads. I'm overwhelmed." Those are the things I hear the most.
How do you solve for that? You do a time audit and you realize that another thing that, and I said this too, it's in the my book. It's this idea. I don't call it a time audit, but I call it calendaring and color coding your calendar and building joy into it first. But the thing that I get really annoyed at is the just the real quick data point in 2022, the average person spent 2.5 hours on social media a day. A day. I'm like, you did this for 2.5 hours? Shoot me. Do you know what I would be able to accomplish in 2.5 hours?
Yes.
So, All right, you do the time audit. Scrolling's not part of the time audit, but they don't realize how long it is. So now I just learned you can put a time limit on your apps. Did you know that?
Yes, I just found that out. I also found out there is a app called Grass. It's either called Grass or Ground.
Okay, what does it do?
So you can be on social media for a certain time period, and then it literally kicks you out of social media. You cannot go back into social media until you touch grass or ground, whichever. And it literally knows when you've touched palm to ground or grass before it will allow you to open that social media app back up. And so this influencer was showing, she was doing a video showing how that worked. And she was out and about with her family. It was, and they were just laughing, but she literally pulled her vehicle like over. She had the driver. She wasn't driving. She had to pull over because she got kicked out of her social media and she had to go touch the ground before she could get back on.
That's awesome. That's the positive side. Okay, so getting back to our regularly scheduled program, we have your clients. They do this time audit where they know they're bullshit, right? They know. I mean, they in the back of their minds, they know it's bullshit. Right? Like, I don't have time. I don't have time to go to the gym. I don't have time to cook. I don't have time to shop. I don't have to whatever. Okay, fine. And now you get this information and you do what? What's your process?
So once we figure out where they're spending their time, it's like, where are the time wasters? We have to get rid of them. And so it's like we have to get rid of the time wasters. And so ideally, it's let's get them to stop being an employee and let's get them working on their business so that they can say, I have more freedom. I got 10 hours back in my week or 10 hours back in my month. And so let's identify the who's. I have this framework called Who Not How plus AI framework. And so let's identify who's, they have a team, who on your team can do this job so that you can do more networking or more revenue producing activity to free you up. Because if you want to scale, you want to succeed, you need to be bringing in more money.
So what I've noticed is that in most, especially founder-led companies, the founder is the rainmaker. And often, more often than not, he's the only or she is the only rainmaker. And so doing this busy work that, to your point, can be delegated or given to somebody else on the team or on the staff, because it could be outsourced, it could be insourced, whatever, is kind of the best ROI ever, but they often don't see it, do they?
No, they hardly ever do they see it.
Even if it took Susie an hour and a half, she can't do what you do.
Right. And well, and here's the thing, they may be at the caliber of a $500 an hour CEO or a $1,000 an hour CEO or a $10,000 an hour CEO when that task they just did was a $10, $15, $20 task. What the heck?
That's it. So that's great. What the heck? So what do you think what do you think, we're gonna bifurcate the audience for a second and just talk about what you think holds women back from either starting businesses or scaling those that they have. What do you think that is?
Lack of confidence, lack of a plan, strategy. It's either those, but I've often sometimes seen it's also the fear of success.
Do tell.
Well, I think that number 1, they've not been in a position of success before, and so they're afraid of what that position might hold. Number 1, what's it gonna feel like? What's it gonna look like? What am I gonna have to do when I get there? I don't know. I've not been mentored. I've not been coached. I don't know what to expect. There's so many questions, there's so much fear. I don't know how to step into it. So I think there's just so much there when they just need to stop and think, you didn't know how you got to where you are now. It's the same process. It's the same process when you moved from low on the totem pole in the job that you're in to that next step. That was graduation. The next step was graduation, promotion. And you didn't know then. You probably had some fear to step into that next position, but you did it and it worked. And so I think we just need to step into our fear, face it, overcome, and you can do it. But it all does start right here in the mind. And ugh, don't know about you, but those are the types of people I wanna spend my time with, is the positive, not the negative. But I think that's it. It's the confidence, and when they celebrate those small wins, then they can celebrate the bigger win, and then the bigger win, and then the bigger win. But that's I really believe that's what it is. It's the fear and the confidence.
Great advice for women, great. What's the best career advice you've ever been given?
The best advice I've ever been given, there's 2 things that come to mind, and one of them is, to always have a replacement for my next promotion, my next step, have somebody trained that can take my place. I learned that in corporate. The second one is to surround myself and hire people that are smarter than me. Because if I can have somebody that's people like you, if I can surround myself and hire people that can take care of the skill sets that I don't have, you look like $1,000,000, number 1. But number 2, what a stronger team you have.
What a better life you have too.
And what a better life you have. Less stress, less overwhelmed. And I did that through my entire career. And I hardly ever had turnover because every position was set up to compensate for the lack of everybody else's skills.
I love that. I love that so much. What's the worst advice you've ever been given?
Well, so I'm going to say this is just for me. There's probably people out there that are going to disagree as this being bad advice, but for me, it was bad advice. And that is every single day, make 2 to 300 cold calls, cold sales calls a day. That is terrible advice for me because I build I build relationships, not make cold sales calls, and to do 2 to 300 a day. Mm-mm. It's awful advice for me. I tried to do 50, not my thing.
I agree with you. I think that is just not the other it sounds also like, the advice that one woman who was on the show said, and she said she was told, "Just do" it could have been actually, it could have been Jackie. Could have been, I think it might have been her that said, "Do everything that Johnny's doing, because then you'll be successful. Johnny's successful, so model Johnny." Well, you're not Johnny.
I'm not Johnny.
And Johnny's it's gonna work for Johnny because it's authentic to Johnny, but it's not gonna work for you because it's not authentic to you.
Mm-mm.
So that's sort of similar in that vein. So, if you had an ability to talk to your 30-year-old self, what would you tell her?
Say no more often. Say the word no more often. I used to be a people pleaser. And not anymore. I please me. And yeah, so I would say no more often, and I would spend more time with my family and not work as many long hours. And that goes with the saying no, because I worked to please others, not to please me. Therefore, I missed out on raising my kids. So, yeah, say no more often and say no to what doesn't feel right. Had I known my human design back then, I would have done several things differently. Just being the people pleaser, I think I pleased more people. My dad being one, he's now gone, coworkers. management.
Yeah.
And I just did things that weren't as pleasing to me, so I would have balked a little bit more going through my career than than that's what I would tell people. Don't if you if you disagree with something, speak up.
Love that. So what I'm hearing from you is this idea of protecting your yeses by giving nos. And that's a big thing. So if it doesn't give you joy and it doesn't give you the ROI, the personal or professional ROI that you think it's going to give them, don't always assume that doing it for somebody else is the right decision.
Well, yes, and I would say oftentimes I think people who want to be successful think they have to say yes all the time so that they can be successful. I think this is what I'm trying to say, so that they can be successful. And that is a lie. You can be you, you can protect yourself and say no when it doesn't feel right. You do not have to please everybody to be successful. You can still protect your family, protect your kids, and be successful.
Great advice. That was a master class. Thank you so much, Tanya, for that. It's very, very authentic. Thank you. Any last parting words of wisdom or thoughts that you want to leave the audience with? Just either leadership, business, process, any of it, human design, any of it. What is your last parting words of wisdom? You've given us so much.
I wrote two things down, and I wrote them down because I want to make sure that I say them correctly. And it is when you are aligned with who you are, your clients feel it. And that's when connection begins. So I'm going to say that one again. When you're aligned with who you are, your clients feel it. And that's when your real connection begins. The second one is the strongest leaders are the ones who are consistent in character, not just strategy. And that's what earns lasting trust. That's what I would like to leave.
We got nothing else to add to that. I think that is so good. Thank you so much. I think if that's not one of my sound bites, I don't know what is. That was beautiful. Thank you so much. Possibility seekers, listen, you've learned a lot from Tanya today. Please share this episode with somebody that you know is going to benefit from her words of wisdom. Keep it, download it, give us a thumbs up, give us some input, give us some love. Let us know what you thought, maybe add to the conversation, engage in the conversation. We enjoy it. Thank you so much and make it a great day. Thank you, Tonya Gossage.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to Possibilities with Monique de Maio, where we unpack life as a female mover and shaker. If you like the show, please consider liking it, or better still, subscribing to it and leaving us a rating. It truly does help. Also, you can pick up my book, The 7 Secrets to Creating a Life You Love, a practical guide for women in leadership. You can find the book, other episodes of this podcast, and how to stay in touch at moniquedemaio.com. DEMAIO. I look forward to seeing you again soon. With gratitude, Monique.